welcome to LearnBytes, the show that delivers bite-sized pieces of wisdom so you can learn how to increase your productivity and efficiency, embrace your natural creativity, and lead with impact. I'm Samantha Garrett from Using Technology Better, and joining me today is Paul Hamilton. Hi, Paul.
Hey, Sam, great to be here.
Thank you. And Paul is the Apple and Creativity Wizard here at Using Technology Better. So great title, Paul.
It is. It's good timing.
It is. And as you may have suspected from that title, Paul is here today to share his wisdom on the topic of creativity. But before we jump into his 8 questions in 4 minutes, Paul, I'd just love you to share a little bit about yourself and what you're passionate about in life.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. So it's great to be here. Thanks for the opportunity. So this is my first year out of teaching. So I'm finding that adjustment from education and being in a school through to a digital trainer or technology trainer as it's been really good. Having a really supportive team around me has been great. But I've always kind of loved the multimedia aspect of education. I love my green screens and my 3D modeling and my digital storytelling. A couple of years ago, I released a children's picture book that's been really successful about a little mouse called Hazel and her adventures. So that's been something that has been close to my heart. I love storytelling. I always try and encourage my students and the teachers that I work with to really push storytelling as a key ingredient to education, because I think whether you're in business or you're in education, that storytelling is so important in today's world.
That is so wonderful, Paul, because you know what? I had forgotten about your book until you just said it. I'm like, oh my goodness, that's right. Paul had this amazing book. So guys, I'm going to pop that link in the notes for you below. So you can definitely check that out. And I'm going to actually order a copy because I haven't got one yet. So
I've got a copy for you, Sam. That's okay.
Oh, thank you, Paul. But you're right. Storytelling is how we connect as human beings. So I think it's such a powerful thing.
Yeah, it is. And when I was writing the book, I obviously had an idea about the story about Hazel, but the other aspect is I'm pretty keen on coding and computational thinking. So I wanted to match up Hazel's adventures to different coding concepts like algorithms and repeats and loops and things. So I kind of tried to do 2 in the same story, which is interesting. Yeah.
I would say that is creative. Maybe.
It could be considered creative. It could be.
Well, we will find out because we're now going to jump into the questions. So, Paul, as you know, this show is all about bite-sized pieces of wisdom. So that is why I'm going to put on the timer for 4 minutes. I'm going to rapid fire 8 questions at you. And if you beat the clock, answer your questions within the 4 minutes, then you can ask me a question and I'll do my best to answer it. So are you ready?
I'm ready to go, Sam. Let's
do
this.
Awesome. I'm going to click start on this timer and we're going to launch right into it.
Okay.
First mobile phone and current phone.
I had the Nokia 3310, I think it was, and I've now got an iPhone 10.
Yeah. How would you define creativity and what do you think are the key dispositions that people display and develop when they're creative?
Yeah, super hard question because I think creativity is very much about thinking. I think it's intrinsically linked to thinking. And it's the generation of new ideas for me. It's that if I can think of it when I was a kid, it was my ability to entertain myself, to come up with an imagination and a story. And that's why I think a lot of creative people get into creative industries because then they entertain others with their stories and their imagination. So that's how I see creativity. Yeah.
Interesting. So what do you think is the biggest myth about creativity then that you've come across?
Definitely that creativity is the same as having artistic skill. So my ability to draw and be a fantastic painter or drawer for me doesn't have anything to do with creativity. So if I had a photographic memory and I could reproduce some artwork of a scene that I saw, for me, it's not a new idea. It's just a replica of it. So for me, creativity is about that generation of new ideas and new artwork and new expression.
Interesting. Thank you, Paul. When, where, and how do you express yourself most creatively?
Well, obviously, I love my tech, Sam, just like you. So I'm at the moment, I'm kind of a little bit obsessed with virtual and augmented reality because I'm coming across these new tools every day. I came across this app today that allowed me to scan on my phone my whole body and then I could animate it. So now I've got a little mini me that I'm able to do action sequences and turn it into a figurine. And so I love that when you find a tool, you're able to connect it with something you already know. So it's kind of linking the new thinking with something that you already have an understanding about.
That's cool. We're totally going to have to put a link to that up below as well.
I will. I'll put a link to it. Yep.
All right. Your biggest barrier to creativity?
I think it's being the fear of being judged, Sam. So when we come up with a new idea, not always new ideas are good. So it's that fear factor of, do I speak up? Do I actually share something on Twitter if I think it's okay, but someone might think that's terrible? So I think the biggest, hurdle for people showing their creativity is that fear of judgment, that it's no good or it doesn't have worth. And I think that's the biggest problem.
So then when you're faced with that, like what strategies have you used to try and overcome it?
To have faith in yourself and to know that creativity is kind of like art is in the eye of the beholder. So you might say, Sam, I don't really like that. I don't see the point in it. I don't see the why. I can't see the brilliance in it. But someone else sitting right next to you might say, I can connect with that. I actually went through something in the past that was similar, or I'm getting an emotional response out of that the person next to you doesn't. So creativity kind of appeals to different people. And I think that's really important to say, right, it doesn't matter if I think it's no good. I'm going to put it out into the world and see who it resonates with.
I like it. Now you've got 37 seconds and 2 questions. Book, video, or podcast that you would recommend to others?
Definitely Dan Pink's one of my favorites. So Dan Pink, especially for business and education, he is brilliant. His book Drive has so much for all of us to get out of in regard to being creative, but also external rewards and internal rewards and what drives creativity. I think that's really important.
All right, last one, 10 seconds. What creative project would you dedicate your time and energy to if you knew it was guaranteed to succeed?
Generating creativity in others.
Ooh, love it. And you just came in exactly on 4 minutes.
Time.
That's amazing. There you go.
Fantastic.
Wow, and you know what? I was kind of like, I want to hear more about that, but we kind of hit the 4 minutes.
No, it's great. It's good fun.
Awesome. Anything you want to add? This is my little maybe you want to expand on point 8.
Yeah. Look, if I could steal someone's idea, Sean Tan. I'm not sure if people have heard of Sean Tan, but he's one of our famous picture book writers in Australia. He's an absolute genius. And he talks about creativity, Sam. He talks about that if you were to be absolutely creative with a new book, it would be you couldn't comprehend what it was about because all narratives follow a certain structure. So sometimes creativity is not completely new. It's just taking what's already there and telling the story in a different way that connects with people. And I think sometimes we think that creativity has to be completely new, but sometimes it's a new take on something that's already there that we've observed as well.
And that's fascinating, Paul, because just thinking to your point before about people judging, what may connect with one person may not connect with someone else, because you might just go, oh, well, they've already done that. But if you do it in a different way, it may connect with someone different, which the first person couldn't have done. So yeah, that's really interesting to think about.
It's like in business, Sam, because creativity is so linked with problem solving that we're looking for those people that have that skill of creativity that can see things that others can't. And so if they can come up with an idea that's built on something else, but the other person hasn't got there yet, that's still creativity because they're building on those ideas going forward.
Thank you so much, Paul. It's a really good food for thought. I really appreciate you sharing your ideas on the topic.
My pleasure, Sam.
Yeah. So before we wrap up, where could people reach out to you, find more about you, your picture book, your work, all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, so my Twitter handle is @PaulHamilton8. I don't know why it's 8. Maybe 7 was taken already, Sam. I'm not sure. But yeah, that's where I kind of share all of my I try to be creative and post one thing a day that's a little bit creative. Sometimes that's difficult on busy days, but I try to put things out into the world and see how it resonates with others. So Twitter's the main one, Sam. Yep.
Wonderful. Thank you, Paul. And we'll pop that link below as well so people can connect with you.
Fantastic.
Awesome. So thanks once again.
Yep.
If you've enjoyed today's conversation, we'd love you to subscribe to the Using Technology Better YouTube channel, or if you are listening to the podcast, be sure to follow the show so you get notified about new episodes. Now, we also have a friendly little fortnightly newsletter that's packed full of strategies to help you improve your efficiency, productivity and organization. So if that sounds interesting, you can use the link below to sign up. So I will see you again here soon for another bite-sized piece of the learning adventure that is life. See you later.